Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Invictus Racing League Tier 3. This is the British Grand Prix tonight, brought to you in partnership with Gridfinder. I'm Jampson and I'm joined by Ewan beside me. How are you, Ewan?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, yeah, not too bad, thank you, mate. Britain tonight, a interesting track, one that people are known to have a few issues with. There's a few heavy traction zones, namely at the end of the lap, and also Maggots and Beckett's. Everyone's favourite. How do you like Britain?
Well, the weather's not great,
That's the UK for you.
but but the track itself is it's a long track, but nice for overtakes, I think.
It is a long track, and yeah, there is quite a few positions to make an overtake, namely after the Hangar and Village straights. There's not a very large pit straight, which is usually the go-to overtaking opportunity around most tracks, but they mix it up a little bit on this one. And with the other two straights are kind of where most positions are made now. Let's just get everything ready. Just that lead. There we go. Full track map and broadcast view for now. This week it's a normal race weekend, a short qualifying should I say, then followed by a feature race. Obviously last week we had the sprint race first. None of that today, just a normal weekend. Evening to a few people who have joined us already. Martin, Samuel, nice to see you all here. Britain is a long track round Britain, usually sort of in the 130s is kind of race pace, 130, 133 maybe. But qualifying, I don't know about you, Ewan, but I reckon I'm going to see around a sort of 128 around here tonight.
Yeah, I think 128 is very fair.
Yeah, so sort of...
Potentially,
Go on, sorry.
potentially in the 127s, I think.
I think if you're setting at 127, you got a good chance for pole tonight. Probably see a few slightly slower times as the first come in, the first runs banker runs, so maybe sort of like the 129s, but once it comes down to the end of the session, I do think sort of a high 127 or 128 flat will be sort of around pole time. But we'll have to wait and see. So a few drivers are making their way to the track. So we didn't have a qualifying last week, or it was one shot, so maybe not quite representative there of who was on pole last weekend as to who will be on pole this week. But nonetheless, the two Red Bulls are out first on track. A long track to do your out lap, lots of time to warm up your tyres, and probably not necessary for a double warm-up lap, as I know some drivers do like to do this year, because the tyres are a lot harder to warm up with no tyre blankets. Oh, well, the tyre blankets are lower, aren't they, this year?
Mhm. Yeah.
I think you come out with sort of like 70-degree tyres, whereas you were coming out the pits with sort of 90-degree tyres. Obviously, they'd cool down a little bit, but nonetheless, we'll follow Tinnis around, who seems to be quite on the money this season.
And in the wood.
Let's see how we can navigate around the Britain Grand Prix. We've got a yellow flag, but I think that's just for people setting up their laps. Nice and tidy through the first few corners, down onto the village straight now. Get that rear wing wide open, as you can see there. A bit of reflection off the floor. A tricky braking zone onto your left, where you've got to sort of hold the brakes a little bit before you commit to the corner, and then a little bit of a wide exit out of here, just so you can help get your foot down a bit sooner. The tighter the line through here, the less time you'll lose, as is the most case with most tracks. And then another tricky corner here at the end of Cops. Careful not to lose the car on the exit or to extend track limits. Through Maggots and Beckett's, carrying as much speed as possible, trying to not drop the gears as much as you can. Down into 5th, that's not too bad, but you can hold 6th through there sometimes, as you need to take a nice wide exit onto the straight. The Hangar straight, the longer of the two straights just about, I think, and probably where we see quite a lot of overtaking opportunities. This is a sweeping right-hander around Stowe, and then just the last two corners of Vale and Club left to navigate. One that's easy to lose the car on, but hopefully this time I won't jinx anybody. And Tinnis does keep the car nice and steady through there, and over the line for a 128.2. A little bit quicker than I expected, Ewan. What do you think? Ewan? Never mind, obviously some technical issues. I'm sure we'll have him back soon. A few drivers are crossing over the line now, sort of a second behind that 128.2, which was kind of the time I was expecting to see, as Sanfan does go very close to the 128.3.6. But some of these drivers are looking very quick already. I don't know if they are pushing to full potential already, rather than just doing a bit of a banker lap.
Does
But regardless,
leaving
good
yourself
times.
on mute? Does leaving yourself on mute constitute as a technical failure?
No,
Or
that's
is that
fine.
just user error?
No, you're good. Few more coming over the line here.
No.
So far, Tinnis on pole, as has been pointed out by one of our viewers. A brilliant time of a 128.222. What do you think of that time, Ewan?
No, I'm not on mute. I think it's good. I did mention the fact that the other Red Bull was 1.5 seconds behind, but then more came in between them. So, I do think it'll be difficult to beat, but I think it can be beaten.
Yeah,
it's still what, 15 minutes to go?
Yeah, there's a good little bit of time, probably a couple more laps from each person. As Charles John has set potentially 2 of the fastest sectors, but we all know that this game likes to tease us all with the purple sectors. But he has kept it nice and steady through there. A 128.2 to beat. A few drivers are getting close, but sort of the common time seems to be sort of a second off that pace, which is what we were expecting really for the first laps, as Charles John does go a couple of seconds down with a 130.6. Who are you watching at the moment, Ewan?
I'm on Jorrel. Jorrel in the Haas. He's 114 coming around the final few corners in Sector 3. He could challenge for the top 10. He might challenge for first.
He's
As
giving
he
it a
comes
nice...
around the final few corners. Final corner. 9th. Oh, close to the top 10. Well, I mean, that's right.
Yeah, 129.9 into the top 10 just about, as we do get another car going a little bit faster with LDR Gamer. Evening Russman and Simon. Daryl has had a name change, as you've noticed. It's now Daryl W28. I don't know if he thinks that'll make him go quicker or not, but we'll see. So Spud's out on the medium tyres, trying to get a feel for the track at the moment. Interesting strategy. Few drivers to come out yet. JPH is making his out lap. See how Spud can do on these medium tyres. I'd imagine it's going to be quite a lot slower on those mediums, as it allegedly gives him a purple first sector, but we all know how that happens, as he keeps it very tight through there, not carrying too much speed. Going to kind of get a little bit wider through there, and then a bit tighter through the following corner as well. But nonetheless, he's still carrying a decent amount of speed. A downshift through the right-hander, again, kind of one where you want to keep full speed through there. Try and not drop the gear if you can help it, but he's invalidated on the exit anyway, so that one doesn't matter. But I think it was just a warm-up lap anyway out on those mediums, so nothing to worry about too much. So, JPH, someone who I definitely think can challenge for that pole time at 128.2 for now. He's been on fine form this last week. He won the feature race. I can't remember who won the sprint race, if I'm honest, but I know JPH did manage to take the win in the feature race. Although he's never been one for qualifying, so we'll have to wait and see where he goes.
It's Daryl.
Was it Daryl that won the sprint? No, he was on for a good finish in the feature, wasn't he? But the strategy messed him up with the rain. I remember now. Weather was interesting. It's looking like a steady time so far from JPH, but I'm not too sure if it'll be challenging the top position just yet. Maybe sort of around the 4th or 3rd mark, possibly. It's got a couple more corners to go.
Tinnis starting his second hot lap, I think.
7th place so far for JPH, just a second off the time. This time from Tinnis is looking quite brilliant, actually. Let's see if he can improve on that one. He's gone a little bit slower in the first sector, and it looks like he's invalidated. Yeah, he's gone a bit too tight through there, and unfortunately, that is going to be an invalidation for him. as we go on board with Atsu, who also invalidates turn 1. It's an easy place to invalidate there. I don't know if you've raced this track very much, Ewan, but that sweeping right-hander, it's very easy to go too tight through there and just invalidate slightly.
Don't invalidate you that time on corner 1.
No, it's the worst time to invalidate. It is corner 1. Let's go on board with JP now. He's the quickest driver on track at the moment by the looks of it. He was just a second off Tinnis's time.
The other Red Bull of Bon Toby, he's going out on his hot lap. Come through the first corners into the first DRS zone after the start-finish straight. He goes 0.1 seconds quicker in his sector 1.
Any improvement's a good improvement.
Yeah. Very much so. He's looking at a quicker sector 2 now.
Oh, he's gone a bit wide
Oh,
there.
He's runs a little bit wide on that one.
Yeah, he's managed to slow down the car a little bit there though to not invalidate, but he has run wide there. And he has unfortunately invalidated that lap. Let's go on board with JP, who's currently on a lap for now. Sab has retired. Looks like he in the pits, that one. Scotty said turn 1's the best place to invalidate as you don't waste all your ERS. Because obviously if you use all your ERS then you can't set another time after. But it's just a very frustrating place because you got to run the whole lap after your invalidation. As JP doesn't go any quicker there. Oh, he does go quicker, sorry. 7 tenths faster, sorry. Up into P3 there. Just ahead of his teammate Nitro Gash, who is also out on a flying lap at the moment through Maggots and Beckett's. Let's see if he can challenge Tinnis for that time, who has gone into the pits now and he won't be running again on those tyres. Probably getting ready to strap on his last set of sauce for as the track gets warmer and ramps up in speed. I'm not sure.
Rico Puster, go on.
Sorry.
Rico Puster going into sector 3. He's going 3 tenths quicker than his original time. If he stays at this speed, it'll put him into 9th place on the grid as he comes around the final corner. And it does put him into 9th.
A lovely time there from himself in the Haas. But Nitro has gone slightly faster than his teammate, just 2.5 tenths off the fastest lap. That put him up into 3rd place. So you have again a few yellow flags, but I think that's just people warming up the tyres and getting ready for their race. For their lap, sorry. Trem just letting people through.
Oh, and Samplan spun out.
Has he spun?
Just as he passes the start-finish line as well. So this will count into his next lap.
That's a frustrating place to spin.
He comes round the final corner as he prepares himself for the hot lap. And he does just spin out, catching the inside curb.
Disaster for Sam Fan as he's going to be looking to challenge for that fastest lap. Only a 1/10.5. I didn't see if he was up on his time. So we have an invalidation from Office Red, but I think don't think he was on a flying lap anyway.
He spun out and spun over the start-finish line.
That's really frustrating from him. Let's go on board with them. We're currently down in P16 as we have a collision on track. I'm not too sure where that pit entry possibly there. I don't doubt that one might end up in the stewards. Nice wide line there from Charles. Get down on the power nice and early. I think some of these drivers might be running automatic gears because there's not a lot of short shifting going on out some of the corners, and the downshift seem to be a little bit. Maybe he isn't actually. No, he isn't. I take that back. He just kept the gears quite high. A good exit there and keeping nice and tight through the corner. It's looking like a good time so far, and he's definitely got some improvement to make, being 2.5 seconds off the pace. A little bit slow through that right-hander there, down into Maggots and Beckett's. Let's see how he navigates that one. A drop of the gear there. That second corner, you can carry 8th gear through there as he's invalidated that time anyway, so that one won't count. On board with Sir Spud, who's just about to finish his lap now. A couple of corners left to go. As Darryl retires from the session. I didn't see if that was on track or not. It looks like it was in the pits. He obviously doesn't think he can go any faster as sort of spun out on those medium tyres again. I don't think he's going to get time to set another lap now. I don't know what he's doing. By the time he gets around the track, that's going to be 1 minute 30, and that will give him just, well, not much time at all to get back out. Just under 2 minutes. As Darryl has said, P7 is the fastest he thinks he'll be able to go tonight. Still a decent time, a 1:30, nothing. 1:29, sorry, nothing to be ashamed of at all. But I'm a bit concerned, I don't know about you, but I don't think he's going to get. Sir Spud's going to get this car back in the pits and out on a set of soft tyres.
I think he's gone out for another hot lap.
Oh, you think he's on a flying lap again? Possibly.
Yeah.
As he's invalidated there anyway.
Oh,
Disaster for Sir Spud there. He's got a bit of time, but I just don't know if he'll get in the pits. They take a lot of time faffing about in the pits. It's not like you can go in with a normal pit stop. You got to go through all those animations. So I think he's going to struggle to get back out, but we'll keep an eye on it. He's weaving into the pits.
Yeah.
Well, he's in the pits. Let's watch out for someone who's on their lap at the moment. Bruce Lee Harden in the Aston Martin, currently P13. Not a time he's going to be too happy with. Hopefully this car doesn't get in his way too much. Unless he does get out of the way, that's good. Just having fun, fair enough. Keeping out the action at the beginning of the race is not always a bad idea. It's quite easy to get caught up in the middle of the pack around turn 1. Nevertheless, the Aston Martin looking to improve on his time, currently with a 1:29.4, which is over a second off the pace. As Darryl says, he's had a little rebrand. Doesn't seem to have made you go any faster though. Never mind.
Joseph Greenart setting his final time as he comes around the final corner. Going a little bit wide there, and he does only manage to climb up to P16.
Yeah, not much of a position gain there, unfortunately.
Higher.
It's a very wide run from Bruce, and he's going to back out of that lap there, I think. Yeah. Got a few drivers now getting ready to finish their final lap. Start their final lap. Sorry. Who are you on board with at the moment?
I'm on with Jack in the Alfa Romeo. He's slingshotting it around the corners, and I haven't had a split time yet.
I think because I changed him, he was 9 tenths up on his time, which is going to look like a good time here, possibly around the 6th or 7th mark.
He does come around the final corner. That is a huge improvement, going up 8 places into 6th place.
Yeah, a brilliant time there from Jack up into 6th, pushing Darryl down a little bit as Tinnis does go quicker with a 1:27.8, and a spin. Oh, okay, there's only Jack, that's fine. But a 1:27.8 from Tinnis, that will be the time to beat a provisional pole. Got a couple of drivers on track at the moment, mainly the two McLarens who could look like challenging that time. So you have got times flying in now. Bontobi up to P9, Atsu up to P5, a brilliant lap from himself. But the ones to watch is going to be those 2 McLarens. Although, as I said, that Kerr does go into 3rd place. We do have some Kerr fans in here quite often, so that's the time that they're going to be happy with. Still a 5/10 gap, though, up to that pole position. Is that a gap that the McLarens can close down, as he does run a little bit wide through there as he's pushing it as hard as he can. A lot of traffic up ahead for JP. Hopefully they don't get in his way too much. Another difficult right-hander, as Bruce Lee will unfortunately have to settle in 15th place back there. 1 corner left to go. Let's see how he can navigate this one. He takes it nice and tidily. P2, that is for JP.
Nitro did invalidate his lap.
It's gutting for Nitro, who's looked the quicker of the two McLarens tonight, and that could have been P2 for himself, but a time that no doubt JP will be happy with, just a 1:27.9, 1:27.9 I think, just inside the 1:27s, as I think that is everybody who's set their lap now.
With the remaining 3 in the pits, I think it might be the end of quality.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the game to send us through now. Regardless, that is a very good time from Tinus Optioneal. A 1:28.0 we predicted would be pole, and he set a 1:27.8. You said they could creep into those 1:27s, and he has done exactly that.
Yes, very much so. Trent does take a 5-place group penalty.
Yeah, that was with the contact with Tinus. I don't know if that was on pit entry, but either way, hopefully that will not affect his race, as we have Tinus on pole tonight with a 1:27.8. Close behind him is the McLaren of JP9119. He set a 1:28 flat, and he was looking like he could challenge for that pole position. Sam Flan down in 3rd place. Kerr just behind him in 4th with Nitrogash, who could have done better in P5. Atsu behind him in P6 with Trems J just below in P7. If I just scroll down the order, sorry. Jack will be behind him in P8 with JPH in P9. Shortly behind is Bon Toby, just 9/10 off pole in P10. Darryl, who decided he couldn't set a better time, will start the grid in P11, just outside that top 10, and will be looking to make some points tonight. As we have Officer Red just behind him with a P12. All these times are very close together. Jorel is down in P13 with the LDR Gamer in P14. The second of the Aston Martin, of Bruce Lee Harding will be in P15 with the first of the Mercedes, Charles John, in P16, which I think is his best qualifying yet this season. Joseph Green will be down in P17 with Sir Spud, who unfortunately didn't manage to get back out on those soft tyres. So he will be starting in P18 with the retirements of Mikey and Seb just behind him. The qualifying pace was interesting, but I think there's going to be some real pushes through the field, especially with those two Aston Martins, JPH starting in P19 and Bruce Lee Hardin starting down in P15, a position that we know they can both improve on. What's your prediction going to be for the top 3, do you think, Ewan? Ewan?
On mute again. I think it will stay the same. I think I think Nitro will come 3rd. The McLaren of JP will come 2nd, and I do think Tinus will come 1st.
Well, let's hope for no issues down into turn 1 as they do. One of the Alpines in the background does go a bit wide. I think that was Sam Flan, and there is some contact at the back, and that is a retirement already for Sir Spud, unfortunately, who I said if he started at the back he might avoid some contact, but it doesn't look to be that way, as we do have a VSC out already. It looks like a few cars were caught up in that one with Bruce Lee Hardin, who I said would be looking to improve, all the way down in P19. I'm not too sure if there's any damage on that car, as he's struggling to get the car underway by the looks of it. I can't see any damage on those two cars, but the game is a little bit notorious for not really showing the damage too well. A big gap then from 4th to 5th. I don't know if there was contact a bit further back, or he's just managing his delta, but that is a big split between those two drivers. 6.5 seconds between P4 and P5. I'm not too sure. But that is back to green flag racing. The VSC is over. Tinus with a nice lead, just a second ahead of the two McLarens, who are looking quite racy tonight. Did you see what happened with the contact at the back, Ewan?
No, I didn't. But I don't think Sir Spud was very happy with it.
No, that is not something that they'll be happy about. Unfortunately, out in the first, well, it was the first corner of the first lap of the race, unfortunately. A few positions being made. Darryl did manage to make his way into the top 10, but has fallen behind Trems. There was a bit of complaints about the race pace of this Williams. As Sir Spud, I think Darryl might have some damage here as he's dived into the pits. And that could be why he was losing positions, though, unfortunately, as Sir Spud is telling us there was someone stopped at turn 1. Unfortunately, that wasn't something I saw. Jorel defending from LDR Gamer. Getting very, very close to the rear of that car as there is a spinner at the back. That is Charles John. Luckily, he's still in the race as LDR's gone a little bit deep there and almost made contact with the back of Jorel. Those front few drivers have really pulled away here. I didn't... Sanflan went a bit wide, I think, at turn 1. I did see that, and I don't know if that's why he's so far off the pace of the other drivers under that VSC. But unfortunately, that will be a night for Sir Spud. Spawn Toby goes for a move down the inside of Mikey up into P12. Mikey's looking to hang this one around the outside and get the better exit here, and it's looks he's going to manage it as they're going side by side through the first few. He's good. He's got out the throttle there, I think, because a couple of drivers have gone past him here, and that's a couple of positions lost as Bontopi is fighting the car through there. So I think the other two drivers who had spun at the beginning were not involved in any contact, or if they were, they didn't take any damage at least, so that's good news. So a little bit of a train forming at the moment behind Sam Flam in P5. As Trems is looking to make a move down the inside of Jack. Kept it nice and tidy, but unfortunately he's not quite had the pace there as he's had to get in the brakes a bit harder than Jack, and Jack's managed to keep that position. Will Trems be able to challenge back for that one? Just a tenth behind the car ahead. Keeps it nice and tight through there on those medium tyres. I didn't look at what tyres people are running. There's a big split in strategy across the field. Some on mediums, some on hards. What would you have started with tonight, Ewan?
I think it would be hards. I think take a grasp for the tyre wear and then go on to the mediums for a little bit of a quicker end to the race.
Yeah, I think I'd do the same. We spoke before the race as well about sometimes if you start on those hard tyres you can capitalise on an early safety car. We've had a few safety cars around Tier 3, but hopefully tonight we will steer clear. We've had a VSC already, but hopefully that will be all we will get tonight.
Yes, that would be very much ideal. We do want 26 laps of hardcore Tier 3 racing. But it's Tier 3 racing, as I say.
Yeah.
If we get 20 of those, we'll be lucky.
Yeah, there's been a few safety cars, but when the cars are racing around the track, it does make for some fine action for sure. So JPH is eyeing up a move on curb, but just can't quite get close enough as he's taking a bit more of the apex through those corners to try and close the gap a little bit. But he's going to be wrestling around that final corner. It's nothing worse than following someone through there. It's very easy to lose the back end. So we have another car into the pits. That is Sab. I don't know if that was because of contact or not, but he will be stopping already. I can't imagine that'd be a scheduled pit stop, as we do have a spin of Bontobi down into 16th place, unfortunately. Luckily we went on board
does make
for
a
that
move
one.
down the inside of JP. JP does steer clear. So he did go for the move there. They were side by side. He did go down he was allowed down the inside, but JP does manage to defend his way. But coming down into the Maggot's corner, actually does look like he's a man on a mission, chasing down, a bit like cat and mouse. It's the cat chasing the mouse.
He has he's using that ERS quite a lot though. That is the only problem. Let's disable that one though. So we do have another spin, unfortunately, of Sab at the back on those brand new softs. Batsu's keeping it tight behind JP. He doesn't want to give this position up now as Bruce Lee is slowly fighting his way back up the field up into P13. He's definitely got a big recovery drive ahead of him. Atsu is, of course, on the faster tyres than JP, so he will have that one in. He will have that advantage. Sorry. Thrustman said Daryl and Sab will most certainly, or Daryl and Charles, you said, will be hoping for a safety car. They will indeed. Just 15 seconds there behind the cars ahead, unfortunately. I didn't really see what happened. I don't know if that was due to contact or not, as Atsu is Looking like making a move at the inside, but playing it safe. He's playing the long game here. But with his medium tyres.
There is a DRS train forming between 5th and 11th. They all do have DRS.
Yeah, quite the train
1
there.
second.
That
Away from each other.
Yeah, that is one train that JPH would not be happy to be caught up in, as he quite often has that race pace. But he's going to be stuck down there in P7 if it carries on. It looks like a bit of a corner cut there from Kerr. Obviously not his third one just yet. An easy track to pick up penalties around here, as you do already have one penalty. That is Charles John down in 17th place. That was probably... I would assume that one was for track limits. Let's have a little look. 5 seconds. No, maybe not. Speeding the pit lane quite possibly.
Don't go on race director. Whatever you do, don't on race director.
No, after last week we will not be touching that race director. It's looking like a bit of a stalemate here between Kerr and Samflan, and that's just holding up the drivers behind. Although JPH is very close to the back of Kerr, but he's going to keep that DRS. That's the only issue here. He's going to be hoping that Samflan can pull away a little bit so he can make a move on the car ahead. As he does this, he is looking a little bit faster. Going for the tighter line to open up the steering through the corner, but that straight line speed from the AlphaTauri just pulls away from JPH. He might even be looking to make a move here as he gets on the brakes early there. After almost making contact, cars weaving across the track here. JPH might be looking for the inside here, as he is going to dart it up the inside, but I don't think he's going to keep the traction on that line. Samflan is slow out the corner. It's going to be 3 wide, possibly down into Copse, 2 wide into Copse. And the move is made by Kerr. Possibly a couple of mistakes there from Samflan, and that has allowed him through. I don't know if Samflan's got damage, but it's going to be 2 wide through Magus and Beckett. Let's hope there's no contact through there, as they do avoid each other. And JPH will be up into P6 as Samflan loses 2 positions in just as many corners. Down onto the hanger straight here now, and JPH will be looking for another position again. As Bontovi picks up his first 3-second penalty. That Aston Martin of JPH is not looking too quick in a straight line. Samflan is falling right down the order here.
What's the analysis on the front wing? Is this front wing a little bit too high again?
Yeah, possibly. The Astons, they do seem to like running their high front wings. We've noticed that over the last few races, haven't we?
Yeah.
Samflan is down into P11. He was P5 at the beginning of the last lap. That is a lap to forget for himself. I don't know if he has some damage, as we did see him run wide, possibly some underfloor damage from running over the curbs.
I do think if JPH can make a move on cut in the next few laps, he could challenge for the podium. I think he's got the skills and he's got the pace.
He definitely does have the pace.
But can he close down the 10-second gap? He might be hoping for a safety car.
Yeah, there's quite a big gap. That is 10 seconds from P4 to P5. That all started when the VSC came out, and unfortunately Samflan's delta was quite high, or quite low should I say, and that caused a big gap to open between 4th and 5th, and it's sort of costing the drivers behind, unfortunately, as they are all bunched up together. Saudi R Gamer is almost forcing Jorel through the corners there, just a 10th behind him through Magus and Beckett. It looks like they're all using the ERS a little bit too much. A lot of flashing lights in the back of the cars. JPH runs a little bit wide there. Mikey makes a move up into P14, past Officer Red in P15 with those better tyres, as Officer Red does pick up his first penalty of the night. That is a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, most likely track extensions. It's easily done.
JPH has got to be very careful here, because although he isn't making the move on cut, it is allowing Jack to potentially make a move on him, and he could go back down to P7.
Yeah, especially with that straight line speed deficit that the Aston Martin seem to have tonight.
But his braking's been looking very sharp. He's been able to brake a little bit later than the other cars. allowing him to close the gap on them corners.
As we do have a spin behind from Jarrell, that is into the wall, unfortunately, on the left-hand side, and that could be the first safety car of the night. Maybe not, actually. It doesn't look like they're going to bring one out. I think if I remember from last season, Ewan, we had a little bit of an issue with the safety car, actually, and with it on reduced, it just did not come out around Britain. And I feel like we're going to see the same issue here, because that is a retirement in the wall, not far off the corner. And if you were to overshoot that corner, that would most certainly be a collision between the car off the track and on the track.
As Nitro spun?
It does look like he's spun, yeah, he's lost a few seconds and he's down into P4.
I saw the change in position, went up, and it was going quite slowly, so I do think there might have been a issue there.
Yeah, I think there was a spin. Hopefully it wasn't contact with another driver, as we do have another penalty for LDR Gamer. 3 seconds again for multiple warnings, and that will be just running wide out of a few of these corners or taking the apex a little bit too early and cutting through it. We've seen a couple of cars when we've been on board that have extended track limits. I know we were on board with Kurz. He went through the corners in Maggots and Beckett's, and it did like he breached track limits there. But he's holding JPH behind him nicely at the moment, and he'll be happy with this drive, as he will have his sights of the car ahead after that spin from Nitro Gash. Especially as those hard tyres will start to come back to him now with the pace difference. But is there anything JPH can do about that one? He's got to keep it nice and tight through Maggots and Beckett's. Takes a tight line through the first corner. He does look a little bit quicker than the car ahead through there. Will he be able to get the move done down into the straight here? So he does have that rear wing open, but it's just not looking quick enough for him, as Sam Flan has made a position back after the few positions he lost. I'm quite interested to know, Ewan, if JPH does indeed have a high wing here, because he's struggling to catch car in the straights. In the corners, he's far quicker. Car does have a bit of a moment there.
It does look it. If you look at the front, he does look a lot higher than the AlphaTauri. It's giving him a lot better handling.
It does, doesn't it? Those wide shots, the front wing does look very high. I don't know how accurate the animation is with the game, as there is a spin there from, I think that is Sab, unfortunately, who's going to get lapped now. Quite possibly could be pitting under the safety car here. Pitting under the safety car, sorry, I'm retiring in that race. I think a couple of them might be... Where is he? Sab, he is a lap down, unfortunately. Charles John, where is Darryl? Okay, he's on the lead. He's on the lead lap, that's fine. Let's go back to where the action is. P5 still. JPH looking to make a move on Kerr. So we have a wide runner there, but I think that's just Sab allowing himself to be lapped. He's managing that ERS, JPH, if Sab does pick up a 3-second time penalty there. Just 2 retirements so far, Jarrell and Sir Spud. It could be behind him, you know, that a position's made. Trems is looking quite racy against Jack, as Kerr does pick up his first 3-second time penalty. That will, by overall time, allow JPH pass, but he's still going to be in the way on track, and that's not going to help him at all, as Sab picks up a 5-second speed in the pit lane. I think he will be retiring from the race, as we do see at the bottom there. Sab has retired, and Charles John is also spanning the Merc again, unfortunately. A few penalties being picked up here.
No.
As Mikey picks up 3 seconds.
No, Mikey, no!
That will be the end of the night for Sab, unfortunately. P18, not what he's going to want to remember, I don't think. Got a few drivers who are off the pace at the moment. Darryl is right at the back there. 14 seconds behind, and Charles John has been lapped as far as I can tell.
This isn't the Darryl we're used to seeing. You're used to seeing Darryl, you know, in the single figure positions.
Yeah.
down in 16th.
He has told me this is a track he doesn't like, but he is usually a lot higher than this. He's down in P16 at the moment, but he is catch back up with the pack. I think the battle we need to go on board with at the moment is Joseph Grima, who's looking to make a move on the Aston Martin of Bruce Lee, who quite possibly could be sharing his teammate's strategy with that poor straight line speed, as he's used all his ERS already trying to defend from the Ferrari, as LDR Gamer is in for his pits.
It is very interesting this, because JPH was right behind Carr going into the corner just before. Carr can just pull away.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what it is.
Is it potentially a loss of traction? Is there a... But that rear wing does look ridiculously high. But that could also be the design of the Aston Martin car. It could, it might not be a sense of his rear wing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how visual it is in the game if someone has a higher front wing, if that makes sense. I'm not sure how much higher it'll actually look on the car compared to if it was like 1 or 2. So I don't know if that's a good thing to judge by, but both those Aston Martins, they look like they have high wings. But that could just be the car, like we said. Joseph Green was looking for the move. Tinnis, our race leader, will go into the pits to drop those medium tyres, and I would assume go onto the hards. Atsu, the other Ferrari, the one we're on board with, will follow him into the pits there, and also the McLaren. Those medium tyres looking like they're coming to the end of their race today, as all those medium runners are pitting.
JPH up into third place. He'll be looking to keep that third place come the end of the race.
Yeah, the only thing with that one is I don't know if it's most likely just because they haven't pitted yet. As that Red Bull of Tennessee can come out into a bit of traffic. Joseph Grimm is going to look up to the inside of here on the Red Bull and possibly around the outside as he's going to be struggling with those cold tyres. This is a position that Tinnis will not be able to lose if he wants to keep up the race.
I do think that the McLaren's got an interesting strategy, because the McLaren of Nitro Gash looks to have gone in for the undercut on JP, potentially bringing his position up, but he does come out very low down the standings. So could this be a way for JP to try to get a bigger gap and a quicker pit stop?
He had that mistake earlier, was it JP? I think or Nitro Gash had the mistake. Which one was it? Do you remember?
Nitro.
Was it Nitro? So
Nitro spun out.
So JP's on the hards. He's going to run long. He will have that tyre advantage, and Joseph Grimmer did manage to get up the inside of Tinnis, who will be losing valuable time behind Joseph at the moment. So we'll be keeping an eye on when they do pit on the gap between the two drivers, as they will be coming out with the faster tyres. Tinnis is going to start getting impatient here as he looks to go up the inside, and Joseph Grimmer's gone into the pits and unfortunately has sped into the pit lane, and that will be a 5-second penalty for himself. But Tinnis will be relieved that the driver is now out the way. So you have the bunching of Kerr, JPH and Jack still all together on track, all within DRS of one another, a little bit of a train former behind them. And this just looks like a position that JPH is unable to take ahead of Kerr, and he might be looking possibly for an undercut in the pits here, or maybe an overcut to try and make this position. Because it just looks like, to me, on track, it's just not one he's going to make.
I was going to say, like, Kerr's defending's been amazing into corners. The only time JPH has had a slight sniff of going past Kerr has been where Kerr's taken a corner a little bit too wide, leaving the inside line. But he's just been quicker out of the corner. He knows that, and it's an issue that JPH needs to potentially address in the pits with his strategy.
Yeah, he could look to drop that front wing a little bit in the pits, as he is just going to keep running behind Kerr here. It just doesn't have, you can see on the straights, he just doesn't have that pace, as his teammate does pick up his first 3 seconds of the night. As soon as they get into sort of like Maggots and Beckett's range, you see the gap drop, and through these last couple of corners through Club and Vale. But as soon as they get up to racing speed, like you said, the AlphaTauri of Kerr looks absolutely on fire and flies away. As JP has set the fastest lap now as he's been released into fresh air at the front of the race. This will be a good gauge as to what kind of pace Tinnis is holding against his opponents, as to whether he can take that fastest lap, as there is another spin of the Mercedes at the back of the field, unfortunately. But this could be a battle to watch of JP and Tinnis Optionil once the final pit stops are made. Let's have a look at the leader gap here. We do have 30 seconds from JP to Tinnis at the moment. 31 seconds as he was held up by the Ferrari. It looks to have cost him a little bit of time. But it is a long pit stop in Britain. I don't. Do you have any idea how long the pit stop is? I know it is quite a long one.
Yeah, I think it's maybe 800 meters.
Yeah, sort of that
maybe
run.
A little bit shorter than that.
It's that run, isn't it, down before they go around the corner and actually into the pits, where it feels like you're waiting forever around there. And sort of the time lost through that pit stop is quite heavy, as JP struggles through the corner there. But Jack is not looking like he's able to make a position, as Tinnis has picked up his first 3 seconds. We'll go on board with him now as we watch JP has just gone into the pits. And it'd be interesting to see where he comes out in comparison with Tinnis Optionil, who will definitely be his closest competitor at the moment. As a few of those drivers on the hard tyres are looking like they want to get off them early. 14 laps on the hards, 10 laps on the mediums is definitely doable, because those medium runners were running about 11 laps.
JPH into first.
He is into first, as Kurz eventually got out his way, something he would definitely be happy about. It does look, though, like JP will come out ahead of his opponent Tinnis, and he will be on the faster tyres. That overcut looks to have been the correct decision there. And with those mediums, as long as he can get them up to pace before Tinnis looks to make a move, he could be looking at a good position here tonight, and possibly the race win. As that spin from Nitro has unfortunately costed him, and he's lost a few positions, although that is P4 after the cars who have yet to get out the way. My only concern would be how quick JPH can get this time down right now.
The bigger the gap he can make, the bigger the gap JPH can make, the harder it is for people to overtake him.
Yeah,
Wise words.
Exactly it. It looks like that, although JPH was rushing to the back of Kerr, it does look like Kerr was carrying some good pace, because he's right behind Nitrogash here, who was a good 5 or 6 seconds ahead during the first phase of the pit stops.
This is scary though, with Jack behind him. I think JPH is panicking a little bit, because Jack's pace behind him is unrivaled.
He's looking quick, isn't
like
he?
a hawk.
He is looking fast. I wonder if he's just sort of, sitting behind the driver, as we do have a spin there. That is contact, it looks like, between Nitrogash and Atsu, both on the lead lap at the moment. Both of them have pitted, so that will be for position, and they will both fall down a little bit, as a few drivers have managed to gain a couple of positions thanks to that one. And it looks like Atsu will be going into the pits there. I didn't see that one, I wasn't on board, and I don't know if there was any damage for Nitrogash, as Kerr picks up another 3-second penalty. Let's have a look at the penalties at the moment. We've got 3 seconds on Tinnis Optionil, so JP is looking very comfortable at the front here without a penalty himself. Bontovi behind him also on 3 seconds, although I think he is yet to pit. He is indeed. Trems, who is on the lead lap and has pitted and is not carrying a penalty, and within the 6 seconds of Kerr, he will be looking like he could make a position here, as the rest of the racers are carrying those time penalties. But we're currently on board with Jack, and he looks like he's going to make a move up the inside of JPH with the DRS open, and he is going to sail past him, and that will be the race lead for Jack, although he has not yet pitted, and he will go into the pits now as JPH follows him in. Hopefully neither driver will speed into the pit lane. As I say that, Jack does do exactly that, and that will be a 5-second penalty for Jack, unfortunately.
I do think that overtake is more complicated than it sounds, especially with the pit, because this is going to be whoever has the quickest pit stop.
Yeah, they're going to be racing out the pits here, and it looks like that Jack will stay ahead of his arrival, as they will feed down. They're in third and fourth here. Definitely going to be happy with that, as Kurt is the fastest on track. They might lose a couple more positions actually yet, as it is a slow exit out of the pits as well. Yeah, P6 it is for JPH, right behind the drivers ahead, but they are going to be on those cold tyres. As we have a spin for the Ferrari at the back of the field, that will be Atsu, unfortunately.
Atsu was in fourth place. He was racing really well. One spin, it's all gone a little bit downhill for him. I feel for him. He had a great qualifying. He was in fourth. He's had a great race to keep his fourth place. He had a 10-second gap on fifth, and it's just all falling apart.
Yeah, he had that spin, and then it looked like contact with nitro gas from what I could see from the track map, which has really costed his race here as he's down in P16. A big chunk of points missing there for the Ferrari. Atsu will retire in the pits. It's going to be a night to forget for him after the start he had. A little bit of a twitch there from Jack, and that could allow JPH to make a move, but it really looks like that Jack is hunting down the Red Bull here. And can he make the same move he made on JPH up the inside? It does look like he can, and that will be P4 on track for Jack. Although Bontobi is yet to pit, and we might see him come into the pits here. No, he's going to hold on for now. So you have a yellow flag, but that's just the Ferrari of Atsu exiting the pits.
He retires. We've had 4 retirements so far in this race. 7 laps to go and not a single safety car. Well, a virtual safety car, but not a physical safety car.
Yeah, just the one tonight, which is just the one virtual, which is definitely ideal. So we have a big group of drivers coming out of the pits together. Well, they're not coming out of the pits together, they're coming round together. Sort of from LDR, well, Sam Flan really in P8. He was holding up a crew of people earlier, down to Nitro Gash in P10. Although it does look... Oh, that's the lapped car of the Mercedes there. We'll be giving Sam Flan DRS, so that's something he'll be happy about. Currently the closest battle then. LDR Gamer following Sam Flan. It looks like Jack, after being let past by that Aston Martin, has found some real fire pace, and he's pulled a second and a half almost to the Aston behind him. Looking to get out of the 3-second rate. Well, I think he's actually got... Does he have 6 seconds, Jack? No, he has 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. So he's going to be looking to get a bit ahead of the cars behind and try and pull that gap.
What's the penalty on Kurt?
Kurt is currently carrying 6 seconds two lots of 3 seconds for track limits, unfortunately.
So JPH would be on the podium if my calculations are correct.
As it stands, yes, he would be on the podium for now.
However, there is 6 laps still. Jack does look like he is pulling away from the Aston Martin.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit of help of DRS from this Mercedes, who's not really getting out of the way there with the blue flags. And he's span anyway, so that doesn't matter too much. Let's go up to JPH there. Bruce Lee trying to get into the top 10. Atsu, rear wing damage was the issue he was carrying, unfortunately, and that is an issue that will just end your race, as you have no control through the corners, and there's a few high-speed corners through here, and you will really struggle without a rear wing around here. On board with LDR Gamer up into Maggots and Beckett's. Following the Alpine in front, that is, of Sam Flan. He's gone a little bit wide there. This could open the door here for LDR Gamer to make a move up the inside, kind of like Jack did on a few drivers earlier. Will he have that straight line pace as he drains his ERS? It doesn't look like he's quite going to make that move.
I do think Tinnis... I think the top 2 is going to stay how it is. Tinnis is running out of ERS quickly. JP kept his ERS. He's on 40 43%. Tinnis is on 14%.
Yeah, he's
So I
also
do
got
think
the
that
faster
was still how it
tyres.
is.
Yeah, JP with those faster tyres as well, the mediums, so it's a gap that will be difficult to close. So, 6/10.
JPH is 1 second away from dropping out of the podium after penalties, as it stands.
1 second. That's a time he's going to want to manage as the cars ahead are looking very quick. He's nearly 2 seconds now behind Jack. I don't know if he's having a few issues here, as he was looking really fast earlier. Let's have a look at that Aston Martin, see if he's struggling a little bit. Maybe he's picked up some damage somewhere, although I didn't see any contact with anybody. He's just maybe a little bit slower, unfortunately, on those medium tyres. Some drivers do prefer the hard stints, some prefer the medium stints. And this could be costing him a podium here.
Yeah, JPH doesn't look like he's got the confidence he did have around the corners. He is taking it very slow around the corners. Braking a little bit earlier than he did. You know, you see Jack in front of him, he's slingshotting around the corners. The corners where he doesn't need to brake, he's not braking at all. But JPH is braking slightly, and that's causing him to lose the time. Toby enters the pits.
I wonder if that is a confidence thing on those medium tyres. He just doesn't feel confident on them, as Trems has a little bit of a snap there. And that will allow Sam Flan to get a little bit closer to the car ahead as he's trying to defend on the car behind, and that DRS will be vital for him. 8 tenths behind Trems at the moment. He is in DRS range as they are going to get down to the village straight. He doesn't look like he's close enough to make a move at the moment. But that DRS will definitely help him stay ahead of the car behind as Mikey picks up another 3-second time penalty.
No, Mikey, no. I think that one might have to run till the end of the season.
Yeah. So LDR Gamer 5 tenths behind Samfan, who is currently in the DRS of Trems, who made a little bit of a mistake. Also on the slower tyre, those hard tyres, as Samflan will be looking to make a move up the field. He isn't currently carrying a penalty, so this will be for position if he does make a move. As Darryl picks up another 3 seconds, although he is a minute off the car ahead, so that won't really matter too much. And as I say that, it looks like he has spun the car. And he's got 10 seconds for exceeding track limits. I think he was actually letting drivers on the lead lap through, and the game was being a real pain and giving him a penalty for it.
JP with the fastest lap as well.
He's absolutely on fire.
3 seconds. JPH is starting to gain a little bit of time, but then he's losing it. So, who knows?
Yeah, 2.4 as Trems is running really wide through the first few corners here, and Samflan is just a couple of attempts behind him here. He's going to get the wider line through the corners to get that extra speed down the straight, and those two Alpines are going to be... They might be having a bit of team orders here, as Samflan will be itching to get past the driver ahead.
It's a question of who's faster than Nitro. Nitro could do this in 3 laps. He is only 1.5 seconds behind, with DRS. Who knows?
Nitro
will... Formula 1.
Oh, Samflan has looked like he's disconnected out of the session, unfortunately, here, and that will let LDR Gamer through. He looked like he was catching the car ahead as well, Samflan. There's not something he would have been wanting here. As Trems, I'm sure, will be relieved seeing that in his rear wing. That will let Nitro and LDR through in a free position for the two of them. As Darryl just speeding the pit lane, I think he will be retiring. There we go. As I say that, a retirement from Darryl in the back of the field. As Russman was saying earlier, that actually it's just a skill issue for Darryl, unfortunately, and the name change has not helped him go any quicker.
Might have made him slower.
Might have made him slower indeed. He was looking pretty fast until tonight. So unfortunately with that one for Samflan, he's fallen all the way down to 9th, and his AI is deciding to pit with 2 laps to go, which is not something you want to see, and even if he does get back in that car now, he will not be scoring points, unfortunately. So we're on board with Nitrogash, who's currently looks like the biggest battle, although Bontobi on those soft tyres is looking like making a move on the Haas. for P13. They are both carrying penalties, and it's not really for points disposition. Maybe it's for bragging rights, I don't know. But we'll keep an eye on this one, as he's going to have that pace advantage on those soft tyres. Sam Flan's AI does come out the pits behind the two of them. This could be a move down the village straight here for Bontobi. He's going to be eyeing up the back of Office Red's car. 5/10, that might be a little bit too far back for now, I think. As he just does keep it behind the car ahead.
As we enter the final 2 laps of the race. Tillis is cutting down on the lead of JP, but with his time penalty, he's going to need a miracle.
Yeah, that time penalty is gonna unfortunately gonna cost him us here, and if he does manage to catch the car ahead, he'll be looking to force a mistake from JP to try and give him a time penalty as well. I can't see Tinnis overtaking JP and pulling a 3-second gap there, that's for sure. Let's see, Bontobi down onto the hanger straight. He's going to look like he's definitely going to have the pace here. He's using the ERS, the DRS is open, and those soft tyres. He's gone around the outside, and that will be another position there for Bontobi, up into P12. As Daryl said, that was a waste of his evening tonight.
Changing the name or racing? Which one?
Racing, I'd assume, after the few mistakes he made and unfortunately ended in a DNF.
Don't worry, Darryl, at least he didn't stick it in the wall.
That's very true, at least he didn't stick it in the wall. Some question as to what was going on lap 1. We saw some I don't know what you saw, Daryl, whether you just mean the delta between with the VSC or the actual contact itself, but it looked like Sam Flan ran really wide as the VSC was called, which forced everyone to slow down behind Sam Flan, and then you said a bit of contact and some time lost and maybe a front wing change, unfortunately. So definitely want to be investigated, as JP9 does set the fastest lap for now, a 1:30.2, not far off the fastest sprint time, fastest quality time at all.
No, just the 2.5 seconds.
So the final lap for JP, let's go on board with him. He's had a very quiet weekend tonight as Jack picks up 3 seconds, and that will allow JP, well, JPH is still actually not in the 3 seconds of Jack, so that won't help him at all.
He is 0.3 seconds away from losing his podium. That's going to be tight.
Yeah, Darryl, I think we'll have to wait to see this one back, but it could have been Sam Flan you were talking about. He ran really wide, and if he had rear wing damage from a bit of contact, that could have explained how he fell through the field, actually. I don't know though. I didn't see it exactly. It's Bontobi sets the fastest lap for now and takes that point away from the McLaren of JP. But it does look like a victory will be on the cards for the McLaren driver, who's looked almost flawless tonight.
Yeah, not a single mistake that I've seen anyway.
No, and that alternate tyre strategy of hard to medium looks to have worked for quite a few of the drivers. No safety car has really helped with that one. He's got 2 more corners left to navigate, and bar any mistakes, this will be the race win for JP9. So he comes around the final 2 corners, and he's celebrating before he gets to the line. That will be a victory for JP as he crosses the line in first place. Tinnis will be in second, but after penalties, he will keep that position. All eyes will go behind him for Kerr, who is a few seconds down the road, but he does also carry that 6-second time penalty, which does look like it will lose him 2 positions unfortunately, and he will fall out the pits as Jack picks up 5 seconds for an unserved penalty, and that will allow JPH up onto the podium in P3, and Kerr will keep that 4th place thanks to that extra penalty that Jack picked up. I don't know what that was for. Any idea? 5 seconds unserved.
Do you have a drive-through ban, John?
Well, no, you only really pick up a drive-through and a safety car, or if you make some really erroneous mistakes like straight lining chicanes and stuff.
So what's happened there then?
I have no idea.
It looked like he'd done anything wrong.
No, same with Joseph Greener. 5 seconds for unserved. Very bizarre. Those could be removed.
It doesn't affect his position though. He hasn't lost the position through that.
No, he hasn't, but there could be one that Well, it could be one that
Jack
might be
has.
removed for Jack, yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that one over the next couple of days. That is very bizarre, but JP will take the win tonight around Silverstone, a difficult track for sure.
Jack was already on a 5-second penalty, wasn't he?
I can't remember what let me see if I can... it's not going to tell me. He was on... yeah, I think it was. 5 second for speeding in the pits, I think. I don't know. It's very bizarre. If we just get the front three drivers, maybe they can give us a little insight as to what happened.
JP's already in.
Yeah, just a couple more
JP's
waiting to
eager.
join. Tinnis unfortunately will not be able to join us, but hopefully we can get JPH in. Very bizarre there as we round up the Silverstone Grand Prix Tier 3. We have a race win for JP9119. Closely behind him Tinnis, who the pair of them did not set any mistakes throughout the night. JPH in P3 after a good recovery drive after being stuck behind a few drivers, but that is pending a penalty removal possibly for Jack, who was in P5. Between them is the American car in P4. Drums J with a nice and quiet race. He looked like he was going to be caught by Samflan, but a disconnection allowed him to keep that 6th position. Note, guess, if we ignore the penalties, although he didn't actually pick any up, but he looked like he was going to make a move on the cars ahead, but he is down in P7 unfortunately after that spin he had and the contact with Atsu, who did retire unfortunately. LDR Gamer down in P8 with Bruce Lee Harden behind him in P9, the second of the two Aston Martins who would have been hoping for a bit more points in 9th place. Joe Sukrema down in 10th and Mikey just behind him in P11, just outside the points unfortunately. Bontobi in P12 with the fastest lap, but that won't count for anything as he didn't finish in the top 10. Officer Red in P13 and Sam Flan in P14 with Charles John, the final finisher, behind him in P15. And 5 retirements tonight with Daryl W, Atsu, Sab, Jarrell and Sir Spud on that first corner. A very interesting race here, and it would be good to get the views of the front few drivers as we can try and find out what happened. At the beginning of the race, I don't know if they saw it or not.
No, but the question is, Jack, but I'm serving the penalty. It was a 5-second time penalty, correct?
Yes, he had a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. But normally that one would just get applied at the end of the race anyway, but it was almost saying he picked up a second 5-second for not serving it, but you don't have to serve that one in the pits.
But then it says it's an 8, but then on the standings they only have 8 seconds worth of penalties. So if you take the 5 seconds away, he comes third.
Oh, that's very bizarre. Maybe he only had 3 seconds though, but I thought he had more than that. Maybe he did only have 3.
So did I. It came up as a 5.
I'm not too sure what happened there. We'll have to try and find out.
This is where race directors are really helpful.
Yeah.
Except it does kick us out, so...
It does kick us out, yeah, that is the only issue with that one, as we do have the we do have JPH and JP in the party. Let's start with you, JP. Well, that was a brilliant race. It looked like the strategy was what helped you win that one.
Yeah, strategy helped me there. Yeah, I obviously I wanted to go hards. I always had that plan to start on hards, go longer, try and keep up with the medium runners. I think I did manage to do that. Then Tinnis boxed, and I was keeping a close eye on the map just to see if he ended up coming out in traffic from a pit stop, and I think he did. I think that's probably what put me ahead when I stopped. I came out in clean air just ahead of him. I think that could be what won me the race, but obviously he did have the penalty as well, so I just had to keep it clean. I tried to get fastest lap, but someone nicked me at the last lap, so that was a bit annoying, but I'll still take the win, definitely.
Yeah, Tinnis came out the pits and he was stuck behind the Red Bull of Bontobi, and he did lose some time behind him, but you were setting the fastest lap at that time, and it wasn't a time that Tinnis, even once he was in clear air, was looking like he was able to challenge, so it could have been that you were actually just quicker on the field anyway.
Okay, that's good to know. Thanks.
But Bontobi was the one who also stole the fastest lap away from you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So mixed feelings for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you find it around Silverstone? Was the car behaving nicely?
Oh, it was perfect. I've never really enjoyed more a race more than that today. I don't know what it was, but just hooked up brilliantly through the S's as well was just brilliant. Um, yeah, just yeah, perfect really.
Yeah, sometimes around Silverstone it's actually who can be the most consistent, not always the fastest round there, as there was a few spins behind you from the McLarens.
I did, yeah. I was actually Nitric Ash was unfortunate. 2 spins could have been up there on the podium with me, but still a good result for the team.
Yeah, exactly. Any questions, Ewan?
Just one. Did you see what happened with the Delta issue on the first lap with the virtual safety car?
Um, well, it went right up to it was 1 second in the red as soon as it came out, but other than that, no, I don't. I know
Because as
there was
soon as
an
the virtual
incident.
safety car. Yeah, go
I
on.
know there was a big incident, but I don't know what happened. I just saw it in my mirrors.
Yeah, because the virtual safety car comes out, and then there's a 10-second gap between Atzer and fourth, and
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if you if you've caught any of that, but
No, sorry.
yeah, it's fine.
No worries then. On to JPH. Possibly a podium you weren't expecting. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's quite nice. Slightly unexpected. I mean, I was expecting to be a little bit quicker tonight, but I didn't quite get the practice I probably needed. But yeah, it's quite nice to get another podium for the season.
I don't know if maybe you were a little bit slower on the mediums than you were on the hards, because on those hards you looked like you were trying to force everyone around the track a bit quicker, but once you got into those mediums, then you were falling behind the cars ahead.
I wouldn't have said I was any real slow. I think Jack in particular, he's quite good round Silverstone when he gets in the groove. He absolutely flies when he gets into clean air. So that's probably where it looked like I was slower, but I wasn't too much. And that second stint, I was just trying to hold back on the ERS, knowing that Carr and Jack had penalties ahead. It was just a case of trying to save the ERS for the last lap or two to really push and make sure the gaps didn't extend over there.
Okay, it was a weird one ahead of you, because Jack had a 3-second time penalty, but then as he crossed the line, he was given 5 seconds for an unserved penalty, so I don't really know what that was for.
He's spending the pit lane.
Okay, I see.
So
Usually
you had the 5 second first and then the 3 seconds later in the race.
Usually it tells you about the 5 seconds during the race, but it didn't seem to show for us, so that was where that one happened. Then that's good to clear that up. We thought maybe that could have ended up in the stewards, but that won't be the case.
No. I think he just braked a little bit too late going into the pits as we came in for our stops.
Yeah, we did see a few drivers do that, and it's easy to do around here, as that the run down to that line is so long, it's easy to misjudge.
Yeah.
Just one final question. Again, it looked like the straight line speed wasn't quite there for the Assens. Was that a setup thing, or?
Yeah, it's about stability. For me at least, anyway. Round Silverstone, you can touch a curb 1 minute, you'll be fine. You touch it the next, it'll go round on you. So it's just about feeling comfortable with the car, and to be honest, I don't mind it too much, because I know as long as I can keep with someone, as long as I've got ERS near the end of the race, I've got that chance to go on the attack near the end. So yeah, it's about being consistent more than anything, just making sure I feel happy with the car and get to the end in one piece.
Okay, so that was what it was then. No worries. Any questions, Ewan?
Just the fact you were without penalties was very, very good. Is there a down on the straight line speed? It looked a little bit slower. Do you raise your rear wing at all a little bit higher?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I just put a setup on and see how it feels. To be honest, I can't really comment what I do, because the point is everyone's different. For some people, I might be a slightly higher wing. For others, I might be slightly lower. So it's a preference sort of thing. So it's hard to tell whether it's higher or lower. Because if you increase the front wing, you're still going to drop top end anyway.
Fair enough.
Oh, there we go. That will be the end of Silverstone. A good win for JP and possibly capitalising on that strategy. But that will be it tonight for Tier 3 around Silverstone, brought to you in partnership with Grid Finder. I've been Jamps9 and alongside me Ewan. Bye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.